Okay, so first up, I want to have a big thank you to the people that have given me feedback based off on my blogs or the video that I put out the other day. Fucking awesome. You know, like, um, when you try something new, you question whether or not you should do it. And man, I talk so much fucking rubbish that, like, I don't even know if half of it even makes sense. So if some people got something out of that, that's really cool, and like, I'm very appreciative. You know, like that you took the time to give me your feedback. Very cool. I also want to make it clear that I do write a bunch of this shit down in that blog. It's fucking big. I know. Like, I know. I wrote this shit. It's like 3,000 to 4,000 words per article. But very cool stuff. Very left of field. A little bit scientific, not scientific. If you liked that video, you will probably like the blog. It takes time to read. I'm sorry. What I wanted to get into today was the concept of ego and how it protects us, but that protection is also what is our demise. You know, so a lot of people will associate ego as like the person that's full of themselves. They strut around. They're carrying suitcases. They've got the basketballs under their armpits when they walk. You know, that's the ego vision that we have. I've lived with people like that. I used to be like that. That is not the sense of the ego that I want to talk about. It's linked a little bit, but it's not really what I want to talk about. Ego, in this sense, is the thing that protects us. It's the bubble that surrounds us so that we only see certain things in our life. More specifically, it's kind of like how I watch scary movies. See, I'm a bitch. I'm a big time bitch when it comes to this shit. I'll sit in the cinema and I will 100% cover my eyes like this, allowing just small slints of the movie to get through my fingers. Or I'll look at the exit signs down the bottom. I'll look anywhere else but the screen. Big time sook. Alright? And the reason why I do that is because I fucking hate jump scares. So I cover my face. I allow some things to get through. You know, I want to have something to talk about at the end to make it seem like I knew what I'm watching. But in reality, I missed the entire movie because I just want to block off from the jump scares. The hand on my face, or me purely looking at the exit signs or anywhere else, is my ego, or is our ego. You know, we have this veil that goes over us, this bubble that protects us from the jump scares of life, and that's what we call ego. Well, how I associate ego to be. And without it, we would be exposed to all sorts of fucked upness. just making up words at this point. All sorts of fucked upness. With it, we're able to block off that fucked upness and really just kind of like go about our days in whatever fashion we like. It's fantastic, but there's always a but. If we live our life in this bubble, if I watch the movie for the entire duration of the film with my hands like this, I only see small snippets of what the movie was actually about. I don't get an idea in the slightest what the storyline was. So when I go to debrief, or if I, try and remember a scene, I get confused. I get confused on the position, the timing, the reason why that actor did this, all this kind of stuff. Now we tie that to real life. If I'm walking through life like this, or if I'm walking through life intentionally looking at the exit signs, or like distracting myself so I don't see the jump scares. I'm not seeing the full picture. So when I don't get a job because I was egocentric, or like I was self-centered in an interview, or if a girlfriend breaks up with me because I am self-centered and I don't project love, and I'm not like telling her or showing her my appreciation, and I'm not living a life full of purpose for others. I'm just living for myself. If I was able to see that, if the veil lifted and I was able to see that I was punishing myself while I was punishing other people, I would get pretty depressed. I'd get pretty anxious. And that's what happens. But it happens because we don't realize why we're feeling these things. We just become depressed and anxious. And then when someone asks us, oh, why are you like this? Why are you like that? You can't ever give them a straight answer. Because our ego is protecting us. That veil is there. We can't see why we can't get girlfriends, or why we can't get boyfriends, why we can't get jobs, why our family doesn't like us, why we do this, why we do that. We can't see it because our ego is just, we are only seeing the small cracks of our life. And so when people go and take drugs like LSD or mushrooms, or they go do an ayahuasca trip, or even if they just go on like a vision quest, they meditate a lot, they start to see the world for what it really is. They get what I call helicopter vision, where they can see their life from the top down, like from that bird's eye view, completely detached, no emotion. They just see it for what it truly is, and it's frightening almost. Especially if you've lived your entire life with this veil. It's fucking scary. But it's crucial. The ego is important because it protects us. But in protecting us, it damages us. It doesn't show us the full picture. So we just have to try and make sense of the world with small pieces of the puzzle. You know how like if you draw a broken circle, the brain will, if you just walk past it, the brain will make the full circle. That's what it's doing. You know, in our everyday life, it'll try and make sense. It'll try and draw the full circle, but we're walking around like this. We're not seeing the world for what it truly is. It's why I'm a big proponent. I'm a big believer in meditation, and in some cases, drugs like mushrooms and LSD and ayahuasca in the right context. You know, like a lot of people use these drugs or like medicine as an excuse to try and have a good time. I don't think they should be used like that. I think if you are ego dominated, you know, like your veil is just so locked shut that you can't see shit. You're only seeing your world, and you can't empathize with anyone. The things that happen in your life are directly responsible from because of other people, not because of yourself. Then those types of people probably should experiment with meditation, or like a controlled dose of some of these drugs. And like in Canada and other countries around the world, drugs like LSD and mushrooms are starting to become legal purely because of this reason. They're starting to be used in psychiatric contexts. And so it really helps people just to break the ego apart, to break the veil, and they can just see the world for what it truly is, and then they can make decisions based off that. It's something to think about, you know. We live our lives completely blind, and then we just try and make sense of it.